Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is some gameplay footage taken from a double up game. I am playing together here with Headwinder, and this is the day that set 13 released. So this is another game that we did on the very first day of the set being out. And in this particular game, we're going to be looking at a visionary team composition. Another one of the vertical traits here in set 13. One that's reasonably strong here at the start of the set, although not quite as overtuned as some of the others. I actually start with a visionary unit. I start with a Vex, so that kind of gave me a little direction right here from the start. We ended up getting a Vi encounter at the start of the game. This is one of the less impactful ones. It gives everybody 2 component anvils to start the game. This is, of course, one of the portals that was around back in the previous sets that they have just turned into an encounter. So it definitely does increase the overall loot at the start of the game, but it doesn't break things as much as some of the other portals do. All right, so we have, as I said, this was played on the first day. I'm actually recording this immediately afterwards, recording this a day after the set came out, although it's not going to get posted on YouTube until a couple more days. To no one's surprise, the set is not very well balanced on release. It was very clear that this set needed more time in testing, that it pretty clearly was not ready when it was released, but it had to go out anyway because everything was pre-scheduled ahead of time. And this set in particular, everything's being timed to synergize with the Arcane TV show that's on Netflix. By the way, we're also using our sends right away. I have used a send to help Headwinder make a Steb 2-star, and he used a send to help me make a Vex 2-star. So he is going to be playing some Bruisers early on, and I'm going to be playing these Visionary units. Okay, so as I said, it's not very well balanced. There's like a handful of traits that are standing out as very, very strong. And those things are, in particular, Black Rose is really, really overtuned in the patch data right now. I guess I'll talk more about that in a minute. First, we have to do the augment here. Again, a ton of new augments. There's like 100 new augments. Did they really need to do 100 new augments? I don't know, but they did. So I take this one, gain a training dummy. Every 10 seconds, the training dummy drops 1 gold. So it's kind of an interesting econ augment. It's a little bit like the augments where there was the one in the previous sets where if you could keep the training dummy alive for the entire round, then as a result, you would it would drop like 3 gold at the end. So this is not quite as demanding. You don't have to necessarily keep the dummy alive, but the longer you keep it alive, the more gold it generates, and longer rounds also tend to be good in that respect. All right, I've got a couple different options here. I was considering doing the Giant's Belt for Warmogs. I actually probably should have just done Warmogs, but instead I take the Gargoyle Stoneplate, which I don't think is bad either. But the minor mistake there is Sentinel units already get armor and magic resistance from their trait. So what do Sentinel units need if they get armor and MR from their trait? Well, then they need more health. So the Warmogs actually would have been better here. A little minor mistake, but I do figure it's probably worth pointing out anyway. Just a little minor mistake. Okay, back to the balance discussion. As I said, this set is not very well balanced. A couple things are stood out as being like stupidly overpowered. The one that's really standing out is Black Rose. Black Rose is the trait that it puts an extra unit on the board when you play into it. There's one of these traits in every single set. And the one in this set is you get a Scion on the board. As you play into the trait, you get a Scion on there. For whatever reason, the numbers are just set like stupidly too high for this trait. It's not really clear why they're set so high, but set really, really high. In particular, Black Rose 5 is like insanely overtuned. Black Rose 5 does not require an emblem to hit. There are 5 Black Rose units. If you play all 5 of them, you get Black Rose 5 in. And the Scion at Black Rose 5 is just like unbelievably strong. So you do have to hit LeBlanc, who is a 5 cost, to play that if you don't have an emblem. But if you do get an emblem, you don't even have to find LeBlanc. You just have to find 1 4-cost unit. The Black Rose 5 has an average placement of like 3.5 in the data right now, which is absurd for something that doesn't require an emblem at all. So it's just way, way, way overtuned. The other 2 things that are clearly too strong are Cogmaw reroll. I played that in the first game that I put up on YouTube. Cog is clearly too strong. He actually got a pretty big nerf right before this went live. When it went from the beta client onto the live client, it still wasn't enough. He is still too strong, even with that major nerf that they gave to him. And then the other thing is Scrap. Scrap trait is clearly very, very strong. So people are playing some variation of these 3 traits, either Black Rose or Scrap, or rerolling for Cogmaw, and all of those things are really quite dominant right now in terms of the metagame. I'm trying to play something that's a little bit of a variation on that. I'm going to be looking to play Visionary, which is honestly pretty strong. It's just being eclipsed by those other comps. So if we get a B patch that knocks all of them down, and this one's left alone, there's a decent chance that this could emerge as like the top comp if that happens. So like this person takes Black Rose Crest. Do they have a Black Rose opener? Nope, doesn't matter. You see Black Rose Crest, you take Black Rose Crest in this particular patch because Black Rose is so overtuned right now. It's not even close. You see that, you take it, even if you have no Black Rose units whatsoever. All right. Anyway, so far so good. I've been able to win all the rounds that I've had thus far. And Headwinder has also been able to win. We've been helpful that we did hit some 2-stars, but we've also used the sends pretty well. I used the send to help him get a 2-star Steb. He used the send to get me a 2-star Vex, and I've been using Vex as my early game carry thus far. So far, that training dummy is also generating a decent amount of gold. I think I've gotten an extra gold coin every single round thus far, which isn't amazing for a gold augment, but if any of these fights last to 20 seconds, it'll start producing a second gold coin, which would be quite nice. Now, as far as what I want here on this carousel, I really want the Rel, because Rel is also a Visionary unit. That would allow me to play 4 Visionary. And fortunately, it doesn't look like anyone's going to take that. So if I can get this Rel, that's actually going to help me out quite a bit. And it looks like no one wanted it, so I am happy to take that. The only downside is I don't have like a good item to make with this. Again, if I'd made the Warmogs earlier, I think I could have done Gargoyles with this, so that would have been nice to have. Warmogs plus Gargoyles would have been nice. All right, anyway, I've got the send back. I'm going to send it to Headwinder. That makes 2-star Trundle. Now I'm going to level 5. I'm going to put in the Renata, and I put in the Rel, and then that actually makes a really nice 4 Visionary 2 Sentinel pairing right here for me with the 2-star 2-star Singed up there tanking, and then 4 Visionaries. All right, so let's go ahead and cover what specifically Visionary trait does, because that's the main vertical that I'm going to be playing in this game. My past self is helpfully highlighting this. Whenever Visionaries gain mana, they gain more. So it is a mana generating trait, but unlike most of the other mana generating traits in past sets, it's not like you get passive ticking mana generation in the background. You don't get mana on auto attacks. It says whenever they generate mana, Visionaries gain more. And there we go. We got the second gold coin that time from the training dummy. So you still need to itemize mana items on them, because if they're not like getting additional mana in some way, then the trait's not really doing what you would expect it to be doing. In past sets, for example, when there's been traits that like give mana on auto attacks, you wouldn't want to, for example, put like a Spear of Shojin on a trait where you get extra mana on auto attacks, because you're already getting extra mana on auto attacks, and it became kind of superfluous. But it's not as bad here on Visionary, because, as I said, it's a percentage-based increase, so it's not bad. Of course, units always generate mana when they auto attack. They innately generate 10 mana per auto attack, so at Visionary 4, it's like every single unit already has a Spear of Shojin. But units also generate mana from getting hit, and that also applies to Visionary trait as well. So when units get hit, I believe that they get 3 mana every time they take damage. So I would get 50% more, so they'd get 4.5 mana as a result of that, if I'm doing the math correctly. And as you play deeper into the trait, that benefit goes up. So it is a mana-generating trait, but I do think it functions a little bit differently than some of the past traits. And my read is it's not as bad to itemize mana on some of these units. You don't want to go crazy with it, but like making a blue buff is absolutely not bad on units like this, because it's going to help them generate that additional mana. Now, that last fight was really nice. I was at 27 mana going into that fight. The targeting dummy dropped 2 gold coins, and then I got another gold coin for winning the round. So I actually got up to 30, and I hit the income breakpoint. It's super nice to be level 5 and 30 gold at the end of 2-6. So like we were on full win streak all throughout stage 2. It was a fantastic stage 2 for me and Headwinder. And then on top of that, my targeting dummy's been generating additional gold. Now, it does only generate them on the player versus player rounds. Does not generate them on the rounds where you are fighting the minions. That would be a little too good, I think. But yeah, I am quite rich. I mean, I'm level 5, and I'm almost up to almost 50 gold level 5 here, which is pretty impressive. And then I'm actually also hitting pretty well, too. Got a number of 2-stars here. I'm mostly playing through the Vex. So I'm going to level to 6 here. It makes total sense to level. I can still be at 40 gold after leveling. And on top of that as well, oh, I'm actually going to make another gargoyles here. I actually kind of forgot I already had one gargoyles. I don't really need two gargoyles, especially when I'm playing Sentinel frontline. This is kind of sloppy itemization, to be perfectly honest. Would have done better probably to make a like a Sunfire here so I could get that benefit. But I did want to try to make a Gnasher's Tooth with the belt. I don't really have good use for bows in this comp. It's always a problem with spellcasting comps. They don't really love bows that much. So I decided I would make the Gnasher's Tooth. And as soon as I decided I would make the Gnasher's Tooth, I was kind of left with not much to do with those other frontline items aside from another Gargoyle Stoneblade. I mean, double Gargoyles isn't terrible. It's just it's not a good fit for Sentinel frontline because Sentinels already get armor and MR. They don't really need more. What they need is more health or shields, but it's harder to get shields. Anyway, though, so enough about itemization. I was able to level. I went ahead and put in the Rennie, who is another character from Arcane, and that actually puts Chem Baron trait in play, which is going to be kind of interesting. I'm not planning on playing heavily into Chem Baron in this game, but I figured I might as well have it there. All right, now I'm also got another augment here, looking at the different options, and I don't really have anything I love here, but I think Piercing Lotus is probably the best. It gives my abilities, it gives my units the ability to crit on their abilities, so that'll be a little bit of extra damage, and it also is when abilities crit, it also is an armor and MR shred. I'm not really counting on that though. Because I have not built in anything like a Jeweled Gauntlet, I think that this is probably decent for my spellcasting board. Visionary is a spellcasting trait, as you might imagine, and they're all spellcasters. They all deal magic damage. So I think that that's probably the best option that I could do there. But yeah, we're just going to try to go from there, and we're actually going to be getting Chem Baron stacks here as well. So if you're unfamiliar with this trait, Chem Baron is the lost streaking economic trait. There's actually two main economic traits in this set. You have Conqueror, which is a win streaking trait. With Conqueror, you have to kill units, so it's kind of like a play from ahead trait. Chem Baron is the opposite. Chem Baron is a lost streaking trait. It's not based on how many units you kill. It's based on per round. You get a certain amount of shimmer each round, and if you're on a 3 loss streak or higher, you gain more. So if you're win streaking, you do not get much shimmer from Chem Baron trait. And then you can keep stacking it up, or you can cash out. I am probably just going to try to get to 100 shimmer because I have Chem Baron 3 in, which gives me 15 shimmer. If I were on a 3 loss streak, I would get 30 shimmer instead, but that's a little bit unlikely that I'm going to get that because I'm kind of win streaking here, and I kind of want to keep win streaking here. Still, I might as well play the Rennie because the next unit in for my board is going to be Nunu. Nunu is the 3-cost Visionary, and he is a bruiser, and Rennie is also a bruiser, so I'm just going to play Bruiser and Sentinel for my frontline traits because there are Visionary units that have both. And I will look to transition out of the Chem Baron later on. But for right now, I mean, I might as well. It's not like there's anything better I could be playing. I'm reasonably happy with the setup I have here. I've been playing through Vex as my main carry thus far. Vex is not a tank in this set. Yeah, most of the TFT sets, for whatever reason, they've decided that Vex is a tank, even though she's not really a tank at all in League of Legends. But they've apparently decided in most of the past TFT sets that Vex is a tank, but not in this one. Just like your standard backline spellcaster. And by the way, I am level 6, 50 gold, 26 XP, so I'll be able to go to level 7 next round. I am just on like an insane econ start here. I'm actually going to pick up the Smeech because I don't have another unit to play. I'm like, all right, I'll just put Smeech in. He will go ahead and give me 4 Chem Baron. I can get a little bit more shimmer. I might as well. I got to play something here. Now, I do want to get a little bit more in the way of AP. I want to get some more, so I want my spells to hit a little bit harder, so I would very much like to get this Rod. If there's a Rod here, I think that would be pretty good. It looks like the Vander is sticking around, so pretty happy to get that off the carousel. Anytime your last pick, and by the way, because Headrunner and I are both on full win streak, I will always have last pick if that's the case. I can look to do something with here. I could do Gunblade with this even. Gunblade's not that bad. It's more of a supportive item now. They actually dialed down the self-healing on the Gunblade in this set, but they increased the healing that goes to the rest of the team, which means it's better now for like backline casters, but it's worse for units that are intending to use the Gunblade healing on themselves, if that makes sense. So you heal yourself for less, but you heal your team for more. Anyway, so there we go. I'm on full win streak, so it definitely makes sense to go ahead and level here. I mean, it only drops me from 50 gold down to 40 gold to do this. It even increases my shop odds, which are good. And I've also found a Twitch, which I'm going to hold for Headwinder. This being a 4-cost unit, I can't send until the start of the next round. But I'm definitely going to hold this and try to send it over to him, because he is going to look to play into snipers, and he wants to run Twitch as one of his main carries, and he's also going to try to play into artillerist. He's actually going to he wanted to test out running Twitch plus Corky as like dual carries and see how that goes, which I haven't really seen anyone trying yet. All right, so here's the person who has a Black Rose crest. There's the Scion over there. I mean, the Scion right now does not feel especially strong, but that's because they don't have Black Rose 5 in just yet. Still, this is going to be kind of a close round. It does look like I would lose this one nonetheless, but the training dummy still alive. The training dummy buys time for Headwinder to come in and save me. So I definitely would have lost that round, but Headwinder to the rescue. And there is Nunu, so I will look to play the Nunu. I think I take out the Smeech here because I don't really... Smeech is really not doing anything other than giving me Chem Baron 4. And then this was the gift round. Oh, this was huge in this game. The gift round actually had a targeting dummy as an option. So in double up mode, you have a gift round on 3-5 and 3-6. On 3-5, I was able to send Headwinder a Thief's Glove. Now it was the gift round for me, and the training dummy was one of the options. Now, normally training dummy is one of the worst things you can pick from the gift round and double up, because one training dummy just doesn't really do much to make your board stronger. We almost always take the other options. We usually take the component anvil or the thief's glove or something like that. But yeah, in this situation, the training dummy is really good because that augment I have, the gold augment, it's not just a gold coin produced every 10 seconds on the one dummy. It's a gold coin every 10 seconds for every dummy. So, double gold coins. Now my income has gone even higher with double gold coins popping in here. So yes, give me the income. I want that income. There we go. Now I do lose this round, so that's disappointing to lose win streak right before the minion round. But I mean, I still generated 4 more gold of income that turn off the double training dummies. So I can potentially be getting an additional 4 gold every single turn, which is just nuts. I mean, that's like being on not just a full win streak, but like beyond a full win streak every single round. Alrighty, so I'm already almost level 8 here, and I'm just going to keep pushing my board. I need 1 more Visionary unit to get 6 Visionary, and that actually is a pretty big spike. Part of the problem with Visionary is a lot of the units are pretty low in terms of the cost tier. There's 2 1 costs, 2 2 costs, a 3 cost, a 4 cost, and a 5 cost. So it's 1 1 2 2 3 4 5. So this definitely could be a reroll trait. It's not really being rerolled at the moment, but it could be a reroll trait. I'm going to go ahead and make the death cap here. I'm pretty happy with that because there's so much mana generation on these units. It's I'm also going to reforge the bow, and I get another rod, which I'm quite happy with. It's going to let me do Ionic Spark, so I'll go ahead and do that. And let's see, and now I go ahead and send the Twitch. I was a little slow in sending the Twitch over there to Headwinder. He does get it, but not in time enough to put it on his board, and that's my bad. I should have done that at the start of the round. But yeah, I'm going to go level 8 next turn, and I'm going to try to get some of these better units in play, because I want to play towards Heimerdinger and Malzahar, and they're going to try to be my main carries. Big problem is, of course, they're a 4 cost and a 5 cost, so it's a little tough to get there. But my economy is so jacked in this game, with the training dummies printing me so much extra loot in addition to winning the first 9 rounds of the game. I'm pretty sure I can just do a fast level 9 in this game. I mean, we have so much health banked. I'm just going to try to get at least 1 Heimerdinger for 6 vision, and then I think I can head there. I'm also about to get a Chem Baron cash out, so I would like to get that as well. So yeah, let's see if we can do that. Oh, we have our last augment here, and there's actually something that's pretty good. I have little buddies here. Your 4 and 5 cost champions gain 65 health and 7% attack speed for every 1 and 2 cost champion on your board. Well, I know I'm going to have to play some 1 and 2 cost champions on my board because I want to play 6 visionary, and that means I'm going to have to play some of the inexpensive visionaries on my board. So I think that this is actually a really good fit for this setup here. All right, so we're going to hit 2-star Renata. There's an Alawi, and there is a Nunu, so I'll pick that up. There's actually 2-star Alawis. I was like, okay, I want to just replace the Singed with Alawi, but the problem is I need to run Chem Baron for 1 more turn to get my Chem Baron cash out. By the way, there is the Heimer, so I'm going to go ahead and put the Heimer on the board, and I'm going to item remover these items off of Vex. And now Heimer is going to take over as the main carry. I also need to get Vex back on the board for the 6 Visionary. But again, I can't take the Chem Baron units out until I get this Shimmer cash out. So I'm going to go ahead and look to do that. So this round my board is a little bit weaker than it should be. But like I said, I kind of need... I'm at 95 out of 100 Shimmer stacks, so I just want to get whatever benefit I'm going to get from that. It's not going to be a ton. The first Chem Baron cash out's not all that much, but let's get what we can for right now. And it looks like I'm going to win this round anyway, because Heimer... Oh, nope. Oh, I guess I didn't win that round. Oh, Lux survives with 200 health. I did get one more gold coin popping out of that training dummy over there, but that would have been nice to win that round. All right, let's go ahead and actually get our real board in play right now. Well, whenever this round ends, it looks like Heimerdinger was able to narrowly clutch out a win there with his board. Okay, now let's go ahead and transition. I'm going to take my cash out. I get a salvaged gauntlet, whatever that is, and then I also get a couple of units here. So I'll go ahead and sell these, and now we're going to transition into the Alawi. Apparently you have to be playing Chem Baron trait, or else the gauntlet doesn't exist because it just disappeared. I don't know if that's intended or not. I guess it's intended. But yeah, that gauntlet just disappeared. So my cash out gave me, I think it gave me 3 gold, which, you know, wasn't really a whole lot. But I don't know, 3 gold is 3 gold. It gets me to level 9 faster. And now I'm just going to try to fast level 9 off this. Again, I'm generating usually 4 additional gold per round off the double training dummies here. And I think Heimer can get me there. Hitting the 2-star Alawi is also really going to help. She gives me quite a bit of additional front line to just stand up there and tank. And it looks like we still win this round anyway, you know, even though I'm being very greedy by trying to get to level 9 so quickly. But I mean, we have 88 health in the bank, so I'm pretty sure we can get this. All right, now we've got another carousel here, and as far as what I want, I actually think that I would probably want to get another frontline item. I'd like to take that Heimer. That's my top pick. If I can get Heimer, I could also then make a Steadfast Heart with the glove that's on my bench and the vest. I also wouldn't mind the tier because I would like to get one more tier for a Spear of Shojin. I've got that sword sitting on my bench. If I can play into Malzahar later, I'm going to want a Spear of Shojin. But the Heimer's there, and that's great. That gets me a pair of Heimers. And now I can make Steadfast Heart for a final item on Alawi. And Heimerdinger really wanted a bow here, and he actually managed to get a bow. So we were both pretty happy considering we're picking 3rd and 4th off that carousel. So now I've got Heimer pair. And again, I'm going to be greedy. I'm going to try to get to level 9 here. And the reason for that is I really want to play Malzahar. And I wouldn't mind playing LeBlanc for my last unit. LeBlanc would give me Black Rose, would put Black Rose trait in play. And I believe it would also give me... Do I have a Sork on this board? I can't remember if that gives me Sork trait or not. But LeBlanc would just be another useful spellcaster to put back here. All right, so let me go ahead and cover Heimer for a minute because he's going to be the featured unit in this video. So Heimerdinger's ability is called Progress with like 5 S's. Costs 40 mana, fire missiles at random enemies that deal magic damage. Each cast fires 1 more missile than the last. So he starts out by firing 5 missiles. Every time he casts, he shoots another missile. And that's why blue buff's really good on him because, you know, they actually did tweak blue buff. It used to drop the mana cost by 10. Now it basically does the same thing, but it's slightly different. You refund 10 mana after casting. So after casting, you immediately go back to 10 mana. So it's basically the same thing, but a little bit different. So blue buff and then just like AP stuff is good on him. Now I need to look to find an evolution. This kind of stuff doesn't seem so good. Oh, kill streak, gain 25 mana on each kill. Yes, that sounds really good on Heimer because remember, kind of 2 things here. Number 1, he's my main carry, so he's going to be getting most of the kills. So every time he kills something, he's going to get 25 more mana, which will cause him to cast more often, which will then cause him to shoot more missiles, because every time he casts, he fires an additional missile. So there's like a lot of positive feedback here. The other thing is he has Visionary trait. We actually have 6 Visionary. That's 80% more mana from all sources. So he doesn't actually get 25 mana when he kills something. He gets 25 times 1.8, which is, I think that's like 45. Yeah, I think that's 45 mana. So every time he kills something, he will instantly cast again, which will then cause him to get more kills, which will cause him to cast again. And you get the idea. It's a lot of positive feedback in this build here. So Yeah, he's going to be missile spamming like crazy, and it's actually pretty hilarious to watch him because he's filling up his mana bar so fast and just shooting so many missiles. Remember, those missiles can also crit. He does have critical because I have that augment that allows my spells to crit. So yeah, Heimer's doing a lot of work back there. It's just hilarious. He's going absolutely insane with all those missiles. He just did 11,000 damage as a one-cost unit, as a one-star unit, excuse me. 1 star, not 1 cost back there. So yeah, okay. Okay. My board still has a lot of 1 stars too, so I can definitely get a lot stronger here. But the path with this much gold generation is definitely to go level 9 and then start looking to hit some of these. Headwinder has both a Malzahar and a Heimerdinger on his bench, so he's holding both of them for a potential send. I probably want the Malzahar because it's harder to hit the 5 cost. There isn't anyone playing Heimer in this lobby aside from me, so I'm reasonably confident I can find one more Heimerdinger for the Heimer 2-star. But I did say why not hold on to both of them just in case I suddenly see a rash of Malzahars, but I can't seem to find Heimer for some unknown reason. And I'm holding Mundos for him because he wants to play Mundo. And oh, there's LeBlanc. Okay, I will be happy playing her. So let's see what I can do. I'm going to go ahead and put LeBlanc on the board. That puts Black Rose Trait in play. There is the tier. So I'll hold that for Mauls later on. There's another Elise. I'm going to run Elise as my other main tank alongside Alawi. You can actually back row Elise, and she's actually a pretty decent carry. But I need the front line more than I need additional damage in the back line. I have plenty of damage in the back line right now, so it's more valuable for me to play Elise as a frontliner. And Scion, I only have Black Rose 3 in, which is not especially super strong, but having just the Scion, even the basic Scion in there does definitely help. Just gives me a little bit more frontline, which is nice. Again, I need my frontline just to hang in there while Heimer just goes absolutely crazy with his missiles. It's just a constant barrage of missiles coming out of him right now. So do we have enough to finish off this board? It's really close. It looks like I'm just a bit short. Heimer 2 would easily win this fight, but Heimer comes up just a little bit short, unfortunately. So yeah, Heimer 2 definitely wins that round. Do need to find that unit. All right, so here's the send coming back again. First, I'm going to send the Mundo over to Headwinder. That's really going to help his board because he's playing 5 Experiment. And then I have the chance to send him something, and I believe he takes the 2 components. We were discussing over whether he wanted the 2 components versus the completed item anvil. This late in the game, it's hard to get components, so sometimes you want the item anvil because you do have more of a choice when you're with what you're pulling there. But I think he did end up taking the 2 components, if I remember correctly. There we go. It took a little while. There's another LeBlanc, so I was like, okay. And I will, of course, put this Spear of Shojin on LeBlanc. Now, she's not hitting her Sork trait, so she's not really going to be a major damage dealer on my board. But she does provide useful utility. Her ability is she puts a damage amp on the enemy team with her chains. Whatever she hits with her chains takes additional damage from all sources. So she's kind of a utility unit, not really a mainline carry. But she's definitely a good unit to have on the board. As a 5 cost, she has pretty good stats. And I mean, she puts the Scion Black Rose on my board, so that's pretty good. And all right, that board was not especially strong. We kind of cut right through that one. And it looks like together we're going to be able to beat the Tristana board over there. So one team just got knocked out of the lobby. Another team's on 2 HP, and another team's on 27? No, down to 20. So we're in pretty good shape here. I'm just trying to 2-star the rest of my board. I feel like if I can 2-star my board... there we go. So I do hit the Heimer, so as soon as I see that, I tell Headwinder, he just got the send back. I tell him, why don't you send me the Malzahar? And then I can look to play through Mauls as well. I also asked for a completed item anvil over there. So he's going to send me the Mauls. Now I can replace one of my units. Now I could take out, I took out the, or not, maybe I should have taken out the, I probably should have taken out the Vex and kept the Renata. I probably should have taken out the Vex and kept the Renata because Vex just deals damage. Renata actually provides some crowd control. Yeah, that was probably a mistake. Probably should have taken out the Vex there. I need Morgana because she gives me Black Rose trait, but Vex is not doing anything. And Renata actually does provide some crowd control. So that was probably the wrong unit to take off the board there. In any case, though, I do finally have Malzahar. He is the 5-cost Visionary. I'll go ahead and read his ability just real quick. Summon a gate in a 5-hex line across the target. Enemies hit take magic damage and are 20% magic resist shredded for 4 seconds. Moles spreads 5 stacks of infection between enemies hit. Infection deals magic damage per second for the rest of combat. This effect can stack infinitely. When an infected target dies, they spread their stacks to nearby enemies. So he will keep infecting units throughout the fight, and then that will continue spreading. So the longer the fight lasts, the more damage he's going to do with that infection mechanic. He also, of course, is magic resist shredding, so that's really helpful for a spellcasting board like this. So he's a bit of a utility unit as well, but he's definitely not a bad one to have. You might notice I am itemizing him over the LeBlanc, even though the LeBlanc is 2-starred, and that's just because I'm playing through Visionary trait. Again, I have 6 Visionary, which is going to give Mauls all that additional mana so he casts more often. I think that's more useful than itemizing the LeBlanc, who does not have her traits in, aside from Black Rose, but that just empowers Scion. That doesn't actually empower her at all. So I'm mostly just looking for more Malzahar's here, but I wouldn't mind hitting another Elise as well, because Elise 2-star would be nice. Of course, Elise is also a Black Rose unit, so she is also super contested in this lobby, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to hit her. Headwinder's also playing Elise because he's got some bruisers over there. I think Elise is going to be played on a lot of boards. She's bruiser, form swapper, and Black Rose. I mean, a 4-cost that has 3 traits is pretty wild. I remember Ivern in set 5. We had the set 5 revival relatively recently as I'm playing this. There's a reason why they generally don't do 4 costs that have 3 traits, because they just get played on like every single board. All right, well, this fight looks pretty close, but Heimer is spamming his missiles. Spam, 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 spam. And yeah, we're going to win that one. And we actually knocked that player out of the lobby. Mauls also did 6,000 damage as well, so he is also kicking in some damage. But ultimately, we were not able to win against both of the 2 boards on this other player's board. All right, so they're down at 5 HP, and one of their players is looking to play Cog reroll. I was like, all right, I'm looking at the board. I was like, okay, well, you know, the Cog looks pretty strong, but the Cog doesn't really have especially great front line, so I think I can deal. I was like, all right, well, okay, they just hit the 3-star Cog, but their front line's not that great, so I can probably still deal with this other board. And then right when I was thinking that, they hit the 3-star Scar as well. So I was like, okay, well, their front line just got a lot better. And this is actually what the Cog reroll board is supposed to look like. When I played Cog reroll and put a game on YouTube, I was actually contested, and I really couldn't hit the other key unit, which is Scar. The board's really supposed to play through Cog 3, Scar 3, but I was never able to hit the Scar 3, so my board was like not as strong as it could be. Again, Cog is very overtuned here in this particular patch, so it's just very hard to deal with the Cog. Like it just takes so long to cut through the front line that by the time you do that, Cog is already gone infinite and killed everybody with his stacking attack speed. The Gunblade changes also really help Cog as well, because he's healing the front line constantly with every cast of his ability. It just makes it very tough to cut through that front line. So that Cog board looks really strong. The good news for us is Headwinder was able to beat the other player. So they're down on 1 HP, and they can only afford to lose. They can't lose any more rounds or the game is over. And the other board looks a lot weaker. They were doing Trist reroll behind 4 Sentinel, which like is okay, but definitely not as strong as some of the other meta comps. I was pretty confident that I could beat that board. Now I'm really just hoping I can hit Mauls 2 and maybe one more Elise for Elise 2. That's what would help me the most here. So let's see what we can find in the shop. Okay, I'm going to pick up these 5 costs. And, well, I mean, that works. That works. I'll go ahead and take that. There's another LeBlanc. And then there's Elise 2 stars. Like, okay, I'll just hit everything. And what do I need? I need more front So I'm going to go ahead, grab a frontline item. You could make the argument that this, I actually should swap these items around. The Warmogs is actually better on Alawi because she has Sentinel trait, whereas like I was going to say the Gargoyle's better on Elise, but she already has Gargoyles. And then I'm going to shift my target dummies up to the front line because I don't care about Econ anymore. I've hit every single thing on my board. I don't need Econ. Let's put the targeting dummies up on the front line so that they'll tank for me, which is what I actually want them to do in this fight. But I was confident I would beat this board. I don't think this one's going to be very close. And indeed, this fight is not close at all. We are annihilating this board, and we're going to win very easily. My front line dies, but every single one of my carries is still alive. So now we go over to the other board, but unfortunately, none of my units are on top of Cog. And like, if we're not on top of Cog, we can't win this fight. So we do lose. Even with the reinforcement, we lose to the Cog. But it doesn't matter. It's a team game. We knocked out the other player. And so that's going to wrap up this one. A pretty easy game overall. Even though neither one of us were playing one of the like overpowered meta comps, we were still able to win without too much trouble. It was just really an econ game. We both just got so far out in front of the lobby in terms of econ that we were able to just kind of snowball, play a bunch of 4 and 5 costs, and win from there. Anyway, this was a fun game. I loved the missile spam with Heimerdinger. It was hilarious watching him shoot 1 billion missiles across the map. And the amount of gold I was generating from those target dummies was simply insane. So I hope that that was fun to watch as well, getting the double gold coins every 10 seconds. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed this. Until next time, take care, folks. I'll see you again soon.